Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Shropshire Pilot vlogcast. My name's Luke and I'm documenting my experience as a student helicopter pilot without leaving anything out so you can see what it's really like. Along the way, I'll be sharing things I wish I'd known before I started, so unless you're already flying a Chinook or an A380, I hope you'll find these videos useful. Today I'll be introducing myself and why I'm learning to fly before giving you some tips on how you can get started. Let's do this. When asked how they got into aviation, most normal pilots will say they took the controls of an aircraft when they were very young, but I actually started on an Amstrad PC-1512. Now if you don't know what that is, then congratulations, you're younger than me. But suffice to say, I'm a flight simulation geek. The pixelated 8-bit footage you're seeing here is from the video game Dam Busters, in which you attempt to fly a Lancaster bomber across Nazi Germany to blow up a dam with a bouncing bomb. I was introduced to this utter madness by my dad, who was a doctor in the Royal Air Force during the Falklands War. From what he's told me over the years, it sounds like he had a rather good time, so I decided I wanted to be an RAF pilot when I grew up. Unfortunately, as a hay fever sufferer, this wasn't meant to be, and assuming I wouldn't be able to fly at all, I continued to get my fix from flight sims. Once I'd finally beaten Dam Busters, I moved on to A10 Cuba, which inspired me to buy a joystick and eventually led to Flight Simulator 98. I also dabbled in some Star Wars space simulation games, and it would be remiss of me not to mention the hours my friends and I spent playing GoldenEye and Halo Combat Evolved. I eventually got back into the cockpit thanks to Elite Dangerous and the brilliantly named Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTUS 1 flight stick. As you can see, Elite Dangerous has a steep learning curve and punishes even the slightest mistake, much like flying in real life. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, I was working as a professional drummer doing this, which abruptly ended when the first lockdown started in early 2020. I've heard many people say this time helped them to reflect, and to be honest, I probably should have started flying sooner. So after some consideration and not wanting to waste any more time, I decided to learn how to fly a helicopter, as you do. You might think I'm mad, and you're probably right, but life's too short for regrets, so if you want to do something, just go for it. The point I'm trying to make is that any reason that gets you into aviation is a good one, and it's never too late to give it a try. However, it can be difficult to know where to start. Well, the first thing to decide is what kind of aircraft you want to fly. Fixed wing is aeroplanes and rotary wing is helicopters. There are of course other options, but once you've made your choice, do a Google search for local flight schools and book a trial flight. You'll get to take the controls and ask as many questions as you want, which will help you figure out if it's really for you. If the whole experience scares the life out of you, perhaps don't take it any further, but if you're instantly hooked, that's great. You'll hear lots of pilots talk about the bug, which is essentially an addiction to flying. But personally, I was still on the fence after my first flight, and if you feel the same way, that's okay. You should just be leaning more towards doing it than not doing it and go with your gut. I'm happy to report that at this point, I definitely have the bug. So that's it for today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. Next time, I'll be talking about choosing a flight school, getting a medical, and paying for this crazy thing you've decided to do. Have a great day and happy flying.